Now, we were hoping to get Paul McGinley on the show tonight, but he's busy, as you can see, with something called the Golf Channel. So we'll have to make you do it, you, Brian.
This is it.
But I will start with Paul and his Twitter feed today. Here's what Paul McGinley tweeted at 7:46 this morning, Brian, as Shane Lowry was walking to the first tee tied for 8th. Winds dropped some today and pins look less tucked away, so some lower scores likely. Weather looks warm and course challenge will change with a new wind direction. And here's what he tweeted almost 3 hours later, when Shane was on his back nine and looking like he might miss the cut. Wow, it's way windier than yesterday and what was forecasted. A US Open has broken out here at the PGA Championships. Greens particularly treacherous. Evelyn Cusack, how are you?
That's brilliant.
Brian, let's start with Shane rather.
Yeah.
And as we said, tied 8 this morning and makes the cut of the number with a birdie on the last to lie at tie 68. His round place.
Well, I was out there this morning and it was miserable. It was freezing cold.
You nearly got pneumonia.
I honestly, I was hiding behind trees and trying to stay. It was just, it was cold and very, very windy. It was, blowing 25 miles an hour, slightly more across the course. And, Shane, in fairness to him, he actually played quite well. He said, I drove the nuts off it, is the way he described it as playing. But, the greens were the problem and the pin positions.
Just on that point. So I defer to you, obviously, with your knowledge of the game at every junction. But I was struck by that. I followed him on the back nine, and I walked in and I had a chat with his caddy. Darren Reynolds. And I said, Darren, is it just me? I actually didn't think he played that bad. He said, no, he didn't. And that's...
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it started off 10th hole, one of the toughest holes in the course, and it's a nice shot in to about 40 feet. And he's thinking, geez, if I hit this too hard, this could go off the green where the pin was, so he leaves it 7 or 8 feet short, misses the putt, bogey, and all of a sudden you're kind of a little bit on the back foot, bogey the 14th, where the pin... Scotty Scheffler described some of the pins as absurd today. It's tougher than he'd ever seen in any tournament, even a US Open. So he bogeys that as well. Then he hits a dreadful shot on the 17th into the lake. I mean, we just what happened there? He says, he glossed over that. It was so bad.
Somebody on Sky, I'm not sure who it was, described it as the worst shot they'd ever seen him hit.
It was a little bit like the one of the Cognizants that went in the water, on the, I think it was the 16th or whatever, in that final round. Just right. Nose dive straight into the lake, double bogey, and all of a sudden, it's not looking great. And he 3-putts the 4th then as well.
Right.
Then there's a couple of bunkers on 7 and 8.
He started on back
So suddenly he's 5 over par playing the par 5 9th, and it's looking like he's on the cut line. He's actually outside the cut line.
Yeah.
Needs to make a birdie, and in fairness to him, he makes it. And he's sort of thinking, I wonder is that good enough? I don't think he thought that was good enough until. Neil Manchip said to him when he came off, no, I think that'll be fine. But it was on the brink all day, but he made it on the number. But he was very frustrated with the mid position.
The most remarkable thing for me, I thought, was that he came in to talk to us after it. And he seemed actually in better form than he was last night.
Yeah.
They even used one of his quotes on the Golf Channel tonight.
Yeah.
People sitting in the grandstands have no idea how difficult it is out there. It felt like every pin was on the bonnet of a car. Now, they've credited that quote with the Irish Times. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, can we not get stuff like that?
Maybe I don't know why it was on the website in the headline. I don't know.
We'll have to have.
I don't know.
We'll have to have a chat with him.
Maybe it was behind the paywall.
Maybe it was behind the paywall.
They couldn't get into it. But that question came on foot of. He was talking to us, a couple of the Irish guys, and a few of the Americans were listening. So here we get a little bit further away and started moving, inching slowly forward, not wanting to disturb things, And one of the American journalists had said, look, it's difficult out there that people don't realize, that an average look at a shot is actually an absolutely fantastic shot. He said, yeah, people in the grandstand have no clue sometimes. They're actually a fairly discerning crowd here in Philadelphia. They're real golf fans.
You think so?
Excuse me. I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think so here, yeah. I think so. They're used to top class. golf around here with
Right.
all the great courses they have around here. So I think there was an appreciation for it. I went on all the roars this morning because it was just so
Yeah,
hard.
it was.
And it was just so cold. You know, it warmed up. The minute, you know, Shane was finishing, suddenly the sun came out, it got warm, the wind dropped a little bit, and the scoring improved. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was looking touch and go for the cut for a few minutes.
But it was brutal out there.
It was. It really was hard.
I mean, the wind. And what I loved about him was, as he was talking to us,
Yeah.
and as he was explaining the conditions, the wind, the pin positions, he said, if you keep me talking, I'll keep moaning.
Yeah.
It actually sounds like something I'd say.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be thought of as, you know, Mo. He says, look, you know, obviously there were great scores out there, you know, people shot 65, 69, 68. You're only moaning because you shot 76, you know, and he didn't really play that poorly. The tee shot on the 17 certainly, you know, did a lot of damage, got double bogey, you know, I think that knocked the stuff out. He went straight into the Portaloo after that. Maybe he was caught short, and I'd say he went in there to have a talk to himself as well.
Now, Brian, not a great day for Tom McKibben, who was out in the afternoon and shot 3 over to finish 3 shots outside the cut. But a much better day for another Irishman who is more than twice his age, the remarkable, and it's not the first time we've said that, Padraig Harrington.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, you know, after what Shane did on the 10th this morning, tough hole in the course, Scheffler bogeyed as well. Padraig could sit in the bunker off the tee. No problem, 15 feet, and knocked it, and he hadn't held anything yesterday. He felt he put it well and hold nothing. I think he got a 7-footer maybe on Thursday, and that was kind of the strength of it. So he knocks in, and he goes, oh, hold on a second, yeah, this is looking good. Then he makes about a 50-footer on the 15th, nearly holds a bunker shot on the 16th. All of a sudden he's 3 under. Okay, both is 17. You know, but he's playing great. Then, you know, there's a few mistakes coming in. You know, he birdied the I think it was the 4th. Hit another great shot in, and suddenly he's sort of thinking, oh yeah, it's the cut here. I got to make sure I make the cut. And when he started thinking about the cut, he said that's when he, you know, got a little bit defensive and had a couple of 3-putts coming in. So he was a bit disappointed about that.
Well, it's funny. He hates us asking about that. He hates us saying, well, you must feel great you've made the cut, or well done.
Yeah.
But he hates being told, well done, you've made the cut, because he still thinks of himself as, you know.
Yeah, he's here
the
to
player.
contend. And he came here, you know, and he was here on Monday, you know, working away. He was here on Tuesday working away. And I mean, on the seniors tour, I mean, they turn up maybe on, you know, Wednesday afternoon and maybe, you know, play a few holes. You know, it's a much more relaxed. So it's a different kettle of fish for him this week.
To put his his play into context, here's a list of people who missed the cut.
Yeah.
Right? Tommy Fleetwood, Bob McIntyre, Tyrrell Hatton, Victor Hovland, Bryson DeChambeau, Adam Scott, JJ Spawn, Akshay Bhatia. So listen, Padraig, if you're watching, don't take offense at this, but well done.
It was a brilliant performance. Yeah, it really was, you know. Fantastic. Great to see him there. And, you know, and he knows, like, if he, you know, gets on a bit of a run, he could get on a run. If they put a few easier pins tomorrow, maybe in a few bowls, and the leaders will be, you know, a bit nervy. He said it himself, you know, anybody could, coming from the pack on Sunday, you know, 4 or 5 behind, can really put it up to him. So I think he'd believe that, you know, I'm playing well enough to, if he could drive it straighter, he's not driving it as well as he can, and he drove it brilliantly last week, he said. So, you know, he hit 16 greens in regulation. And he says, I've never done that. You know, he's never done, that's not his MO.
No.
So,
and he spoke for 10 minutes. And he would have kept going.
Yeah, there was a big crowd where everybody wanted to listen to him. You know, all the Americans came over.
Brian.
Everybody loves listening to what Padraig has to say.
Yeah. Now, Brian, let's take a quick look at the leaderboard. Alex Smalley and Maverick McNeely, who played with Padraig, tied for first at 4 under.
4 under par,
leads. Then a 6-way tie for third with Hideki Matsuyama, Chris Gottrup, Aldrich Pottinger, Stephen Yeager, Minwoo Lee and Max Grazeman. And then a 7-way tie for ninth that includes Justin Thomas, Ludwig A. Oberg and the Metronome.
Scotty and Cam Young and the Metronome. Scotty Scheffler, yeah, indeed. Scheffler was out, you know, a few groups behind Shane.
He also played in the morning.
He played in the morning.
And you've made the point that they've got the rough side of the
Yeah, they definitely. And the back 9 is the harder 9, just slightly harder 9. So Scheffler, you know, and he only missed 1 fairway in the first round. Today he couldn't hit a fairway, you know, to save his life earlier in the day. You know, I think he was what did he hit? He missed the first 6 fairways. Right. So he's 3 over after 4. And I think I heard McGinley on the Golf Channel there saying, is this going to be the day that Scotty Scheffler is suddenly going to shoot 79 and blow himself out of the tournament? No, it wasn't.
No.
He got it around 71, but he, and I was surprised to hear him talk about the pins the same way as Shane had. He just said to my caddy, with loads of experience, and I said to Justin Rose's caddy, who's got even more experience, I said, these are the toughest pins I've ever seen. They've said, yeah, these are as tough maybe as you'd see at, US Open and, Pinehurst or somewhere like that. So he was taken aback, but
Padraig didn't quite agree with that. It's like you suggesting that a player had been talking about the pins, not saying who that player was.
There was a couple of players. One said it was absurd, and one talked about car bonnets, and he says, look, this 30 years ago, referees would have been sacked for putting pins the way they are, but this is all part of the entertainment business, he says. It's great TV. People on television love to be sitting at home watching us suffer and humbled a little bit, and it's all great TV, but the play was so slow because, there's you guys backed up on tees. There was slow play warnings for Justin Thomas and Keegan Bradley, and we're sort of suggesting the play was very important. It's a traffic management problem. We need traffic engineers because the gap between the groups is too small, and we should have 15 minutes. But TV don't want that because it's if you're waiting too long for the next shot to come in, people want continuity, want the action to keep on going.
Now, Brian, at one stage, as I went back out in the afternoon with Rory, he played his front line, and he was sitting having a rest on the 10th tee, waiting for that to clear. Tell us about Rory's round, because, again, we weren't that optimistic this time last night.
Yeah.
But, wow.
Yeah, 3 birdies, no bogeys. Drove the ball far better than he did on the first day when he was dreadful. I think that long range session that he had, yesterday afternoon really helped him out. And we met his manager, Sean O'Flaherty, when he came in off Rory was coming in.
Sean, who was very complimentary about the pod, actually.
He was very complimentary about
Sean,
the pod.
You're welcome to come on now. Maybe tomorrow night we might grab you for a few minutes.
Yeah, he was, he was saying, he definitely got a lot of confidence from that full range session yesterday, So he played well within himself. He could have been a few shots better. I mean, on the 9th, the par 5, I think he hit a fantastic shot. It just rolled off the front end, make it 5. Could have been a tap-in eagle the way the shot came in. So I think Rory is extremely happy about where he is in the tournament. I'm right back.
Brian, remind us.
Tied for 30, then 1 over. So 5 back.
5 back.
5 back, which is nothing.
It was funny because...
Where's the real leaderboard, Paul? The real leaderboard, as we said earlier, is 200 par.
The real leaderboard is 200 par. So you're saying...
Alex Smalley, 0 wins.
Okay.
Maverick McNeely, 1 win.
Yeah.
There's some good players there on 300, but you're looking at Cam Young, Justin Thomas, Scotty Scheffler, Ludwig Aberg amongst the guys on 200. Rory's 1 over, so maybe he's 3 back.
Well, he was actually asked. He came in briefly to the press room for a quick interview, and he was reminded what he said yesterday, the word to sum up his round, that what he said was shit, and asked for another word that would sum up today's round. And he said, not so shit. No, he didn't mean it. That was the difference.
No, he was laughing. He was. I think he was just really pleased that he managed to get him. It's one thing to know that you have to go out and shoot a good score to get yourself back in the tournament. To go out and do it, I think, is a different thing altogether.
That's great.
I don't think he was a big fan of the setup, to be honest.
No.
He sort of thinks that the bunch leaderboard is a sign of a bad setup. That they were trying to protect the bar too much and all the rest, and too many tight pins, so thinks that they might have used up all the tough pins at this stage.
Yeah.
They might put them in a few bowls because there's plenty of bowls out there, and there could be a few birdies, and I think there's going to be fireworks tomorrow, to be honest.
Well, hopefully, Brian, tell us who's playing with who, our boys. Who are they? When are they going out, and who are they playing with?
Okay, A21, Shane Lowry's out with Brian Campbell. Canadian, he hit the ball very far, but he's an unbelievable putter.
Okay.
So that'll be good for him to see a few putts going in.
Okay.
857, Padraig Harrington with the lad who, the Norwegian guy who won in Doral, Christopher Wrightham.
Oh, right, okay.
It'll be interesting. I think Padraig would be as fascinated by him as Wrightham will be by Padraig.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, nice group.
Oh, not Brooks.
Yes.
Rory and Brooks.
Wow. I think, Brooks there hanging around. He's slowly but surely getting himself back into form. 3-time PGA champion.
Okay.
Rory, a 2-time PGA champion.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised to see it there.
That sounds like box office, and we'll have more box office with Brian tomorrow night if you tune in. Thanks for joining us.